Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having a phenomenal weekend here. Boy, so much to cover. Let me go ahead and start by recapping what I've been talking about now for several weeks. And this is why it's so important, because history continues to repeat itself. And if you've been able to learn and understand the things I've shared with you video after video over the last several weeks, then like a day like Friday, for instance, was an exciting day for you and not a bummer. And so let's go ahead and start with the basics. So for several weeks here, I've been talking with you about this area, right? We had this divergence over here, that led to the big sell down here, and then it took us a long time and a lot of market energy to get back up there. And I commented on this area at that time when it was here. It's like, well, it kind of used up all of its energy, used up all of its rocket fuel to get up there. So now, how are we going to get above this? Pull back and then start to take back off, right? And so what happened was that led us to a point where then for the last several weeks, and I kept commenting every time we got up here, right? I was commenting in different videos, and then culminating with the video I did with you last weekend, where same thing, right? We were right back up here. It's like, gang, it's got to push through and it's got to start to take back off, but that just didn't happen. And I also commented at that time, once again, we were getting very high here. So you can kind of see these points where we were getting very high, and those coordinated with market tops. Okay, so with that being said, so we knew that, and then we also knew, because we talked about it, last weekend, the Nasdaq. If you recall, I had mentioned that, hey guys, also watch out that with the Nasdaq here, based on where we're at, right? We still got room to grow. The NASDAQ was behind the curve on this. We saw those same high points, right? We saw those same high points here. And yet we were also much further. We had more air to go just for the NASDAQ to go ahead and catch up with the SPY. So there was a couple points. Go back and watch the video. You'll see it. What I say in advance, then we can see what happens in the future. So armed with all of that, what do we look for, next? What happens? We hit a resistance, we start to pull back from it. Well, let's take that and then bring it into the market. So we fail that level. What are we looking to do? Well, we come into Friday morning, and first thing we're doing right off the U.S. Open there, basically, as you can see, was firing off sell signals. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll remind you of these things. Then I'm going to add more to it today. So what is this, right? We've got the champion trend and the champion cross were sell side. We have a wealth signal firing off there, right? And this didn't paint after the fact. Didn't go back several bars later, put that on there. You guys know this all happens as it's happening. And so what ended up happening there was, wealth signal fires off typically near the beginning of trends, right? Breakout forecasters mean that what? Even after a pullback, we're expecting lower lows. And if you make lower lows with more of the breakout forecasters, then after a pullback, we're expecting a lower low. And then if you make lower lows with more of those breakout forecasters, then after a pullback, we're expecting what? Lower lows. You got it. Now notice there was no more breakout forecasters here, and then it didn't go down as much with that trajectory over here. But starting with this, we had the champion trend, beautiful. Champion cross, beautiful. Well signal firing off near the beginning of a trend, and the breakout forecasters. We had these intermediary dots that come in, near the middle of trends is statistically where we're looking at those. So everything was going in firing off here from that perspective, right? So we're looking for shorts. And remember, we talked about different types of shorts. Just armed with I'm recapping what you've already learned from me, and then we're going to add some more to it now. So what happens, right, is that it pops back up into the champion cross. When it starts to pull back out, we can look for a short. Pops into the champion cross. When it starts to pull back out, we can look for a short. Pops into the champion cross, pulls back out, we look for a short. Well, what if you miss those, individual items there, for some reason? You miss those individual opportunities. Well, another great tool, that people with various levels of WealthCharts have is called the IRB, reverse IRB, and IRB tracker. So the IRB 2.0. The reverse IRB 2.0, the IRB tracker, These are really special indicators and tools of mine as well. And what happens here is that if we want to go take a look at that as additional entries, so these little magenta triangles, those are setup bars. Those are warning you in advance, hey, we might be seeing an IRB. And then the actual dots, so like this red dot right here, or like this magenta dot, those are IRBs or reverse IRBs. So first you get a pre-warning like, hey, we might get a trade here. We might get a trade here. So if you happen to be one of those people that missed the pullback in and missed the entry back out, you missed the pullback in and back out, well, guess what? The IRB and reverse IRB gives you all sorts of additional indications of potential follow through from there. Okay, and so one of the places that you can go to see those, if you go up here into add indicators, go over to the more exclusives, and you'll see there's IRB buys, reverse buys, IRB sells, reverse sells, and IRB tracker, right? And so those are some really great things that you can use. And notice then between, just interesting enough, see all these IRB trackers and then actual IRB signals in there? Well, what happens is then you'll see sometimes those come either with or outside of. So here, like here, here's the breakout forecasters, but you're also getting a whole bunch of signals at a whole bunch of other times. So if you missed the breakout forecasters, if you missed the wealth signal, if you missed the retracement trade, basically the rest of it gave a lot of additional entries there as well. And I'm going to clean this up just for a moment. I'm going to take the IRB trackers off of here for a moment. So now you can just see the signals themselves. And historically, years ago, that's just what you had. The classic IRB and then the reverse IRB signals for the entries. And then what happened was a lot of people, because these will fire off then as we're breaking down below these bars, so they fire off there. But if you miss that, then maybe you're like disenchanted or disenfranchised or concerned, like disappointed, like, oh, I missed it, now what do I do? Well, my first response to that is wait for the next one to fire off. But that's why we added the IRB tracker to this, to pre-warn you when those conditions go ahead and are there. So when the conditions are there, now it's basically warning you, hey, within the next couple of bars, we're likely to see one of these signals if the market continues to move. So, right here, it's warning you, the very next bar fired off. Here, it's warning you, the very next bar fired off. Here, it's warning you, it took a couple bars for it to fire off. So here, it's warning you, this case took about 3 bars for it to go ahead and fire off. But usually within the next 1 to 3 bars, you're expected to fire off. So if you're sitting there looking for another opportunity, then it's like, okay, you know what? I got to sit here. I got to stay here. Sorry, don't distract me, buddies that want to do silly chat on, chat boards and, sit there and different types of social media things just to pass the day away. Well, for serious traders and active traders and investors, and again, picture this. This is the same thing if you're a swing trader too. So, your buddies want to get on and complain about how they had a bad week, a bad month in their swing options trades and everything else. Well, you say, you know what? I don't want to hear all that. I got some signals firing off here. I'm going to go ahead and set up some orders, set up some alerts to go ahead and get into my next opportunity. So focus on you and your betterment and your future instead of getting caught up into other people's negativity, misery, and things like that. I'm concerned about you as part of my student family. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. So I kind of wanted to build upon it. So to recap, as we kick off here, another wonderful video to add to the series of videos about what's happening on the daily basis, right? We've been talking about this now for effectively a month. All my videos have been tied in right around this, right? That's basically what I've been talking about, this whole resistance level from back over here, right? And then every time we came back up near it, right, we were talking about it. And then we pointed out a couple of, daily resistance things that had my concern, using up the energy, trying to get back up there, what we needed to see, how we need to push above, and then, take back off, which we continue to fail to do. And then how to go ahead and trade that from that point, right? And we talked about the NASDAQ not keeping up with the SPY. Go back and watch the videos. You'll see it. It's all there for you. And then, we talk about, okay, what do we do? Well, the classic trading strategy, like with and I'm not even talking about my TRP, my ITP tools. Those are more advanced tools for much more serious active traders and investors. I'm going ahead and talking about just the Champion Trend Pack, which is right there inside of WealthCharts. And so what happens is, right, you get that sell zone firing off. You've got the red Champion Trend. You've got the red Champion Cross. So right away, all I'm looking for is shorts there at that point. You get wealth signal firing off near the beginning of trend breakout forecasters, which means that even after pullbacks, we expect lower lows in this case. And then if you're making those lower lows with more of the breakout forecasters, then it means after a pullback, we're expecting lower lows. And if it makes those lower lows with more breakout forecasters, well, you guys get the point, right? So and then we bring that into, okay, well, what happens if I miss a whole bunch of those signals that we talked about there along the way? Well, do we just watch the whole trend go by? Well, no, we can add like the IRB, reverse IRB, and the tracker signals to help us be more alert and ready for the next signal that goes ahead and fires off from there. Okay, and if you have things like WealthCharts Ultimate, for instance, that you have a scanner that will even go ahead and alert you to these kind of things firing off. So so a lot of neat stuff there, gang. I just wanted you to kind of see this because it builds upon everything that we've been talking about now. Just even in the last month, to build upon what we talked about at the Wealth 365 Summit. So just trying to continue that education because I want to see the best for you guys. And I hope that as I've kind of done this little series for you, building, putting building blocks together, that it just helps you be a better prop trader, a better day trader, a better swing trader. We've been adding a bunch of new tools into WealthCharts there, and we're just trying to make it better every day for you. And I want to make sure all of you are then learning from these different strategies here to make 2025 here your best year ever. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Study this video. Go back and watch the videos, from back in January. And watch the videos as we progressed into going through this last month here, and then it'll all make sense. It's only a handful of videos that you have to watch, and it'll all make a lot more sense to you. Okay? So have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your weekend. Study these videos, and I look forward to watching you guys grow and progress each and every day. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.